Welcome back to the one and only podcast, the July episode. This month, Glyn has decided to leave me in the lurch and has disappeared on his holidays. So I have two very able men in his place. I have Scott Donaldson and I have Jack Harper. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning, Laura. Thank you.
How are we, you pair?
Good, yeah, good. The sun's shining.
Very good. Yeah,
Sun is shining. What has been happening, Jack, since we last spoke
it's
on the
been
podcast?
a busy couple of months, really. We've had plenty of shows. We've been to the Highland show, and I've had a couple of weeks off, sunning myself in the one and only pair of budgie smugglers in Croatia and Montenegro.
There
for a
is
couple
an
of weeks,
image for everyone.
Paint a bonny picture there, Jack.
Got myself a tan that even my Australian summer self might envy, so it's nice.
Where have you been?
Started in Croatia, went down the coast, a few islands in Croatia, finished in Montenegro, and then had a spontaneous trip to Slovenia.
Wow.
Checked out Lake Bled.
Did you enjoy it?
Really good. Yeah, weather was good, food was good, beer was good. So no complaints from me.
Tip top. What about you, Scott?
Exciting things that have happened. I was asked to speak at Beef Tech up in Aberdeenshire in Peterhead, where they wanted me to talk about the future of the beef industry, which was quite good, and I tried to be a bit controversial. Like Jack says, the Highland show was I thought it was a great few days. Saw a lot of people. The weather was tremendous. Well, I was there almost too hot, but that was really good. I've had a family wedding, which was incredibly stressful but good fun in the end. And then I've spent nearly 2 weeks in the south of France and went by train all the way from Holtwhistle to the south of France by train.
How long does that take?
Well, you could do it in a day, but we stopped in Paris on the way down and we stopped in London on the way back. Right. I can recommend the TGV train, the TGV, as they say in France.
Very cultured.
And it's 300 kilometres an hour, and it goes from Paris to Marseille without stopping.
Right.
2 decks. It's that's the way to travel. So I feel a little bit kind of green because I didn't take the plane.
Wow, very slick. Imagine what's the carbon that you've saved.
Oh, honestly,
unbelievable.
There'll be a whole sea of carbon I've saved.
Very good. Oh well, you pair have had a wonderful few weeks.
Enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah.
Good.
On and off.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get down to business then for this month. This month we have Robert Craig on the show. We have the dairy extraordinaire from the Eden Valley. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you, Laura.
How are you?
I'm good, and I've just discovered I've got something in common with Jack, that we holidayed in Montenegro as well.
Did you?
Yeah, beautiful spot.
An amazing place.
Did you see him in his budgie smugglers?
I don't think we did. We need to check the date.
You would have stood out.
Yeah, you wouldn't have missed me.
I wasn't looking out for Australians, auctioneers and budgie smugglers, but stunning country, beautiful country.
Yeah,
really,
very nice.
Really nice.
So tell us a bit about yourself. Introduce yourself, who you are, what you do.
Okay, so I always pause a little bit now because I'm not sure whether I am still really a dairy farmer or not. I haven't milked a cow for a long time, but we run 3 fairly large dairy businesses. But I spend probably half my time doing kind of dairy industry stuff. So dairy farmer stroke industry. I'm chair of the Royal Association of British Dairy Farmers at the moment. So spend quite a bit of time travelling the length of the country. Kind of 4 weeks into 6 weeks of travelling the length of the country every week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to August because it'll be quiet. So yeah, I oversee the 3 businesses, pay all the bills, reconcile all the accounts. But I haven't milked a cow for a long time. But
that's not a bad thing.
Some hugely capable people that do that for me, which is great.
What does the Royal Association of British Dairy Farming do? Explain that to me.
Really good question, right? So a really old charity. I should know the date, but it's old, 18 something or other, and the only organisation with solely dairy, but also with the royal patronage. So the king is our patron.
Okay.
Initially, it would be all around developing markets, developing genetics. I mean, way back, the dairy show, Olympia in London. Yep. That then moved to Stoneleigh and then NEC, and then it changed, and we run Dairy Tech in February.
Yep.
So that's a big event. We do Entrepreneurs in Dairy, which is training for youngsters to learn about the business of dairy. Women in Dairy is a huge thing. We of course do the Gold Cup, the prestigious Gold Cup. Yes. So we have that competition every year, and then we have an open day. That was 2 weeks ago at Harper Adams College. What else do we do? A load of other awards, Princess Royal Award, Royal Innovation Award, Dairy Student Award that we do annually. I think we're hoping to. Well, we've gone through a bit of a rebirth in the last 12 months, and we're going to do a bit more on the policy work going forward. We'd sort of slipped into what was maybe known more as an events company.
Yeah.
We were making a good job of dairy tech. We're doing Down to Earth in the summer there, and we probably lost our way a little bit in terms of policy and the voice of dairy farming. So that's we have a new chief exec now on board. So Hayley Campbell Gibbons just joined us in November. So we went through a period where I looked after it for almost a year, and Hayley's taken over. And sort of finding her feet, and we've done a bit of a strategic review. We're doing a governance review now, and it's good. It's an exciting new chapter that we're moving into, which is looking forward to. Actually,
Sounds really exciting. It sounds there's loads in there, isn't there?
There's a lot, and we're really well respected from the industry, and we've got a good legacy, and we'll use that to propel us forward.
Yeah.
But I think the dairy industry needs a louder, more coherent voice. When you look at what an NFU can do and what HHIB can do, they're a little bit muted for various reasons, and to be solely specifically dairy, RABDF can be that voice.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think probably all areas of our industry could do with that, but certainly the dairy industry plays a huge part in all parts of livestock farming there.
Yeah, that's right. So, already a fair bit of engagement with ministers and that sort of thing, which we've had before, but we maybe haven't used that opportunity as well as we could have done. So no, excited moving forward.
So how long have you been in that post?
Oh gosh, I've been a trustee for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Probably 6-7 years. And when I became a trustee, it was fairly obvious pretty quickly that I was in sort of succession. So and it's a great little organisation actually, because the team of office holders work together really effectively. So I was working with the previous. She was vice chair, and then she became chair, and there's probably 4 or 5 of us that sort of share the burden, because we do sit on loads of different national committees and have them sort of feed points through to ministers and that sort of thing. So I was chair. What was I chair at the AGM in 23? So I'm nearly 2 years into it. We lost our managing director shortly after I became chair.
Yeah.
So I stepped in then. I was in Brisbane, and I got an email to say that he was leaving and wouldn't be coming back. So I then stepped in when I came back from Australia and ran the show last year through until November. It took longer, I think, to recruit a new chief exec than I expected. So I was basically on the train to Coventry pretty much every week for nearly most of last year. Well, until Dairy Tech, really, because once we got Dairy Tech delivered in February this year, then I kind of stepped back, because Hayley hadn't really been involved in that. And I've got my life back a bit this year, a little bit.
There'll be a lot to do, and as you say, a lot of travelling. You cope with that quite well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky in the sense that the businesses are set up that I don't need to be there. But what I do realise now is there is so much paperwork. It's all via email now. So when I do go away, I've been away in Bristol for a few days this week, and you come back to maybe 50 or 100 emails that most of them are invoices that need dealing with, and I've got a system, but that is, and I do enjoy that. I like to keep track of what's going on financially. That's kind of what drives me. So I'm not really ready quite yet to pass that on to somebody else, but I do think, gosh, maybe I do need someone in the office just to do this thing.
Ease that burden a little bit.
Yeah.
Share the load.
Yeah. It's just, I'm pretty good at delegating, because we wouldn't never have grown a business if I hadn't learned to delegate. But that financial bit, that is what drives me. Like, my best day is the end of the month, reconcile the accounts, update my budgets. That's where I'm at.
That's a spreadsheet man. He's a spreadsheet man.
I love it.
Love a spreadsheet.
I love it.
Yeah, spreadsheet goes a long way.
So what are the businesses that you're alluding to? What businesses do you?
Yeah, so home is the family business. If you like, my grandfather moved up from Sussex with a very small pedigree British Friesian herd in the 1950, with about 20 cows. That is now roughly 500 cows, no longer pedigree, but that's still home. Kenhead Farm, in the Eden Valley. That was 150 acres then, and it's probably about 800-900 acres now.
Wow.
We just picked up a bit more land. The second one is initially it was a joint venture on the Eden Hall estate near Langwathby, so that's Dolphinby Farm. That was a joint venture with a friend of mine from Staffordshire, who we bought out about 12 and a half years into a 15-year tenancy. So we jointly bought him out with the manager that is there now. So So we're 75% and Johnny and Lucy are 25%. So, and we've renewed the tenancy for another 15-year term. And the third business is PP in the Tyne Valley, so near Corbridge. So PP Farm, the home of the Hyundai herd, as most people remember it. We took that on in 2018, and we've just brought in the manager over there. So Mark and Hannah have come in as 25% equity holders there as well. So, and we're in discussions with the landlord to extend the tenancy on that. So the three, and they're all roughly the same size. They're about 500 cows. There's probably about 1,000 hectares across all three units there. But that's a bit of a moving feast because there's land coming at me from all different directions at the moment.
Quite big changes there because that's Lord Allendale's estate, isn't it?
It is.
And they're kind of not rewilding, but they're doing a bit of different stuff.
They're looking at how they de-risk, I think, what they're doing. I think it's they found a bit in hand and now they've put a bit into schemes and that sort of thing. It's just working out what works for them, really. But we have a great relationship with all of our landlords, which is great. I mean, I've seen him down in London a couple of weeks ago, which was nice. So,
it's important.
Yeah,
it's
makes it easy, doesn't it?
Essential,
So are these all like grass-based systems, or are they all
grass? So
for the amount of those acres, that sounds like quite extensive.
I had a bit of a penny drop moment, probably late 90s. First exposure to a bit of New Zealand thinking from Ireland. Strangely enough, there's a few Kiwi consultants going to Ireland, and I suppose at that point we were fairly conventional. We'd used quite a lot of Canadian Holstein. We were following this kind of high yield route, and it just felt like it was a treadmill that I was struggling to get off. Newly married, I think we had children then. We're just newly married, I think. And I thought, well, gee, was this really what I wanted to do? We had quite a complicated business then because we diversified into sheep because of milk quota and stuff like that. And, it just felt there's a bit of conflict in our business, and the opportunity to learn how to manage grass properly, and then the genetics all followed from that, I suppose. Really, that was just great for us. It was just exactly what we needed. It fit what we wanted lifestyle-wise. It suited the farm that we had. We hadn't gone too extreme with the cows, so we sort of backpedaled a bit. We moved, we started sort of crossbreeding out to Kiwi black and whites,
right?
Which were a great cow. It's a bit like when you start using Canadian Holsteins on British Friesians. You get this wonderful, really excellent cow that could sort of stand what we did with it. So pedaling back the other way, using New Zealand black and whites, we ended up with a fantastic herd of cows that did the same, and a bit of crossbreeding with Jerseys through the years as well. So they're all grass based. To answer your question, they're all spring calving, all grass based, all simple low cost systems.
So they're all spring calving. So you will wind up at the end of the year.
PP wasn't. PP was split. So when we set PP up, it's quite a lot drier in the Tyne Valley than over this side of the Pennines. So we decided, with the autumn block, 50-50 roughly, but the autumn block would soak up some of the empties from the other two herds. And it kind of worked, but financially, because I'm a bit of a spreadsheet geek, we're losing, there's probably a couple £100,000 there that were of cost. We weren't really getting the extra production. So I think the autumn block, you probably need to get another couple of thousand litres per cow, which we weren't really getting. So whether that's genetically or us managing, forage, whatever, we just weren't getting it. Awesome. So we decided, we know what works. We know what works really well. We'll just cut to the chase and make them all spring.
What's the biggest challenges in your grass-based system? Do you have the same type of cow throughout all the herds?
Yeah, very similar. When we set PP up, we sourced a lot of cows from Ireland, so they're a little bit different, but they're primarily grazing genetics, so just a bit bigger than what we had at home and in Dolphinby. The bigger challenge is probably weather now. It's quite variable. We had a horrendously dry spring this year, and it was starting to think, crikey, all three farms were really dry, which is quite rare, for them all to be in drought, towards the end of May. And of course, it's rained pretty much ever since, hasn't it? Yeah. Except at PP. PP's still really dry. Tyne Valley's really dry. But I mean, I was in Bristol the last couple of days, and coming back up the country, it doesn't really get green until you get to about Preston.
Yeah.
It's pretty horribly dry down there.
On the train last week, and
and that really surprised me. So weather's probably the big challenge, in that sense. A lot of the rest of it, we've got a lot of control over. We can, it's the beauty of this system is my biggest cost as a dairy farmer is feeding the cow, and we've got a lot of control over that. So that's why weather kind of comes to the surface, because that's when you feel a little bit out of control. We can't irrigate or anything like that. It's like, geez, we can't grow grass. you're immediately thrown into a different world where you've got to start sourcing feed and that, but it generally sorts itself out. We're far enough north. So.
What happened last summer when we had a very, very
Yeah,
opposite?
the opposite. It was brilliant. Because I always say, look, it can rain every day of the summer. If I want some sunshine, I'll jump on a plane or a
And for the
train.
cows?
And because all 3 farms are really dry.
So they can
in
withstand
terms of
quite a lot.
the land's really free draining, so it's
Yeah.
great. Just great. You don't need to worry. You just grow grass for free.
You just keep
and
growing if it's wet.
brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant. So,
And how do you market your milk?
yeah, good question. All through First Milk.
Oh, perfect.
So all First Milk members on 3 farms. I mean, I was director of First Milk for nearly 7 years.
All right, okay.
Until it's a time limited position. So once you've got to the end of your 3 terms, that's you done. You can go back, but that's it. But no, Nestle on 2 farms. So Dolphin being home, supplying Nestle at Dalston, which has again been quite a big part of my life in the last 5 or 6 years. PP's just on a standard compositional member price, so it's a little bit different, but. No, it's good. First Milk's in a great place.
Yeah, they've come through. They've come back from the brink, haven't they?
Yeah, no, it was good. It's a good. I really enjoyed that. It was good fun being part of that. That change, really great people.
Bringing it all back.
Yeah, really solid little co-op now.
Yeah.
Doing things a little bit differently, but that's fine as well.
How many members has First Milk got?
Yeah, about 700 or just over 700. So yeah, it was back in the day, sort of 2,500 members, and then. It declined and declined. We're going back sort of 10, 12 years now. But and it was pretty precarious there. When I first was involved, it was, I think if there'd been, like, if you remember when Dairy Farmers of Britain went pop, there was MilkLink and there was other bits of the industry to soak up the members. So, it was allowed to go bust, if you like. But when First Milk were in that really precarious position, there was no real capacity left in the industry to absorb it if it went bankrupt. So I think that's probably why it sort of was allowed to keep going through by the banks, just to let it go on and
keep it all alive.
Yeah, and it's people, isn't it? I mean, we Sheila Hancock came in and she's an exceptional person. She brought some good people with her and she's attracted good people through the process as well. And we redefined ourselves as the regenerative co-op and great relationship with the likes of Onur and Nestle and now Yo Valley down in the southwest. It's all good. It's really, really good.
Yeah, there's been a lot of work put into that, and it's good to see that work has been felt and it's really progressed the company.
Yeah, and we're, anybody in the industry now is saying like, wow, yeah, First Milk's done really well, hasn't it? Paying a really competitive milk price, and good.
Very good.
You mentioned the word regenerative there, and that's becoming a bit of a buzzword. I think there's quite a lot of talk around regenerative farming at the minute. I attended Carbon Calling at Penrith just the other week there, and it's really interesting to listen to everybody talking about. And there's some real good stories out there. Do you see in milk production that might be a sort of a route for?
It is. I mean, it is for what we're doing at First Milk. And this the catalyst for this was the Nestle Milk Plan. There's a lot of work with Nestle on biodiversity and restoring hedges and walls and planting trees and all that. And then it kind of morphed into soil carbon sequestration. And then this kind of word regenerative seemed to appear 2 or 3 years ago. And how do you define it? And this is the challenge that we've got. It's not like an organic standard, like a hurdle you jump over. It's a set of principles that you follow, and you could argue that they're quite difficult to manage. Yeah. What appealed to me was quite a lot of what we were doing was already regenerative.
Yes,
and I think we, as an industry, we don't need to be shy of that to say that.
Yeah.
Our biggest weakness. I mean, we had this blueprint, if you like. We had this Kiwi system, which was kind of a cow to the acre, 250 kilograms of N, and not a lot else really. Fairly simple, perennial ryegrass, white clover, and it worked. But our biggest weakness was nitrogen fertilizer.
Yeah.
And I think until you really challenge, like, why are we using nitrogen? Because the organic guys would say you don't need to use this. You need to just think a little bit more about cycling nutrients and use your own slurry and dirty water and compost your farmyard manure. Yeah. And really start to educate yourself about.
Yeah. Just change your mindset. Isn't
it is a bit. And so we've gone from 250 kilos to less than 100 kilos of N now on all 3 farms. Produced in a very similar amount of grass. We measure grass weekly with plate meters, so we know what's going on. We've probably got a slightly lower stocking rate, but that's more to do with more available land than it is necessarily what we're doing. a little bit less concerned about dockings and thistles and that sort of thing. You know, we're a little bit less worried about that. We've done a bit of multi-species. We've planted quite a lot of plantain and chicory and red clover. I mean, it's a bit of a learning process, and I think we found that through the co-op as well, that although most grazers are already relatively regenerative, there's a bit of a learning process to go through in terms of how we put nutrients on and how we cycle them and when we put them on. You know, it's not, you've got this massive lagoon full of slurry at the end of the winter. Well, that's a massive resource. It's not just a problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's a huge resource. So we tend to use that now through the season much more effectively than we used to.
Yeah.
And we do all that ourselves as well, that we couldn't have done at smaller scale, I guess. We do it ourselves now, which is great.
I think that regenerative movement is a bit of a sort of a cliff edge, but it's at a point where it's either going to have to go one way or the other, and you've got the little guys that are still mad keen and selling their carrots at the end of the road. But if they're going to step up, like you have with the milk, with your milk system, that to make it really worth something. There's a few businesses out there. I was talking to a lady on the phone the other day who'd been at that same meeting, and they've just got a Tesco contract to supply ready meals that are all regenerative. Yeah, and it's
regenerative ready meals.
Yeah,
right.
On that regenerative, you sort of say that everyone, in one sense or another, a lot of people already are regenerative.
Yeah.
Is there any premiums for the milk off a regenerative farm? Because I know, like back home with the wool, there's price premiums for unmuled sheep, and there's sort of those organic lines. But is there any price premiums with the milk at this stage, or is it something that'll happen?
It is. So it is coming, Jack. It's there's a creamery down. I mean, we've got our Nestle thing that there is definitely a premium.
Yep.
I mean, there's it's a premium contract. It's always been a premium contract, but we've had to do things to keep it a premium contract. So yeah, there's a range of different interventions that we can employ on that better suit one farm than another, and you know, it's quite flexible in that sense. So there is. It's probably not a 10% premium, but it's somewhere sort of 6, 7, 8%, depending on.
Makes it worth it.
It makes it really well worth it. And I know there's a creamery down in Cornwall, is it Trewithen Dairy? I think they've got a regenerative premium now as well.
Yeah.
We're working with Yo Valley down in the southwest. I say we're, and that's weird that because I was part of First Milk for so long. First Milk is working with Yo Valley. So Yo Valley are supplying the majority of the conventional milk into Yo Valley. Yo Valley is an organic brand in the south of England, but they put quite a lot of own brand product into supermarkets as well. So we supply them with conventional milk, and we've got a very similar process. It's called the Naturally Better Dairy Group. Really trips off the tongue. And that is modelled on the Nestle thing. So there's a load of intervention. So there is a premium on that as well. That's a very similar premium to the Nestle premium.
Yeah.
And it's progressive, so that wherever a farmer does 1 year, you know, if you just repeat the same the following year, you get less bonus. So you've got to
encourages you to keep the wheel turning and keep improving.
And the Nestle is exactly the same. So you've got to keep progressing through it, otherwise your premium gets less. And if it's not for you, you don't have to be in it either. You know, you can slip back into a standard. But that's what'll keep regenerative alive if there's a financial.
Absolutely,
definitely.
Because it's not something that transmits all the way through to customer, is it? It's not marketed as a.
They're trying to. There's a move. You know, they are trying to. The biggest stumbling block is the fact that it's not a standard yet.
Yeah.
You know, and organic always had the certification. There's no certification around regenerative yet. But I think it can. This lady I was talking to, they have an app. She's an app for all our producers, and it talks about stocking rates and moving mobs of sheep round and measuring their carbon or their outputs and ticking the boxes. And they've got to hit various levels, a bit like you have with your milk contract, to get to supply her. I think there's masses of potential in it. I see it from a livestock auctioneer's point of view, and it doesn't look necessarily like a perfect fit, but if we get more livestock on farms, because the arable farmers start to realise they need that livestock content to improve their soil, then it might turn.
Definitely. Lost my train of thought there. I was just thinking about what you were saying about more livestock, and I was thinking of a conversation I had with Daniel Zeitzner a few weeks ago about the opportunity that we've got in the country. I have this thing about lazy land. You know, we went into all these schemes. You know, And you look around this county, just Cumbria, great livestock county. There's an awful lot of land now that is not very productive, but could be really productive. And I think that if you learn the principles of nutrients and regenerative, really good. I mean, and this is nothing new about this. This is what my grandfather was doing.
Exactly, they were doing
the
this generation still.
We're just giving it a name.
Absolutely, this is good farming, good agriculture, and the opportunity for the country just from a dairy perspective. We should be looking like in the world we're fairly unique, and you do realise if you travel when you come back to the UK, there's not many places that can do what we can do without pumping water out of the ground.
Exactly,
it's extraordinary. But we're not making any use of this. It's crazy. We could be a huge export industry. But we're just like ignoring the fact that we could do this. Bizarrely, importing our food from other parts of the world that have to pump water out of the ground, and
that's the
crazy.
I've got to put the soapbox away, because if we all get on it at once, it could get a bit noisy. But it's exactly that. That's what drives me mad. We're importing stuff from countries that have to fight over the water. We've got water falling out of the sky every day.
Yeah.
Is there a regenerative carbon sort of movement in Australia?
Not particularly, but there's certainly processes. Like you're talking about moving sheep around from paddock to paddock. Like I know one of our big trading cattle clients, he is regenerative, so to speak, and he's sort of going down that line where it looks regenerative, and they move the cattle around. But I wouldn't say there's any premiums or any regenerative schemes as yet.
And do they focus at all on carbon out there as well? Because the UK is mad on it.
It's more so just about getting the land right. Like, as you say, with having the stock on there and not having to put as much nitrogen into the ground, well, it's a cost saver. And when you're working with big country and there's plenty of stock, well, it's doable.
Yeah.
That's more so what people would focus on.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm David. I'm the Head of Agriculture for H&H Insurance Brokers. We are a successful business rooted in Cumbria. We've looked after farmers in the north of England and the south of Scotland for almost 40 years. So every day we work with farm and rural businesses just like yours, who in turn are working hard to produce the food required for our tables. We act as a trusted advisor to our clients in the same way that you would turn to a solicitor or an accountant to give you good, quality, expert advice. We always take the time to get to know you and your business, allowing us to have an in-depth understanding of what you need to plan for the future and to provide the best advice possible. Our team of experienced account executives use their knowledge of the insurance industry to advise you on any potential threats and risks. As an independent broker, we have access to a wide range of insurance providers, which enables us to find the right product for you at a competitive price. You can always be assured that you will receive a personal and first-class service. In fact, you could say we are the exact opposite of a faceless call centre. Insurance is about more than just planning for future events. It is about having the peace of mind that your business is protected when something goes wrong, which means you can focus on the things that matter the most. We're here to do just that. So next time your insurance renewals are due for your farm or your business, please give us a call and we can see what we can do for you. We'll meet up and have a chat. Call us on 01228 406 290.
I think that's the only way it really resonates, isn't it? Yeah. With any business, really. If there's a business case behind it that's going to improve what they're doing.
It is. I mean, what we found at First Milk is it really enthuses our members on the whole, the majority of them, because they think, wow, I'm kind of already doing 2/3 of this anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe we have to think a little bit more about rotational grazing and a bit like protecting regrowths and things like that. But that's part of the learning process. But we've, if anything, it's really enthused them, because it's, they're getting a bonus and they're seen to be rewarded for what they're already doing largely, but making a few tweaks and you can do a better job of it, and it's something they're really proud of. It's like,
what brought you? What makes you passionate about the dairy industry and the jobs that you do? Because it's an industry that can get quite a lot of bashing from a consumer point of view, and all those points. And so obviously you've got to deal with that if you're going to be, if you're at the sort of lobbying side of that as well.
Yeah, politics. Maybe we shouldn't go there. I've never done anything else. Mm-hmm. I had a very traditional upbringing, so I never was encouraged to think about doing anything else. But I honestly wouldn't change anything, because I've thoroughly enjoyed what I've done, and I was very determined that I wasn't going to be milking 40 cows forever, and there was more to life than that. Yeah. But it's we talked there earlier about where the industry's come from. in terms of the number of farms. When my grandfather set up the herd that we milk today in something like 1930, there was 250,000 dairy farmers. When my father sort of took over, that had halved in the sort of late 60s, early 70s. When I left school, mid 80s, I think we're down to mid 50s, and we're down to about 7,000 dairy farmers now.
Yeah.
So pretty much any dairy farmer that is still in business today is an expert in sustainability. Because they've stood so many different crises, economic and, industry diseases and goodness knows what else, So they're pretty refined. The group of dairy farmers are left now. And this is another conversation I had with the minister the other day about how we've embraced technology as an industry.
I was just going to say that, because you've just hit it. You're the people that are left in dairy farming are forward-thinking, innovative, and passionate about what they do. And you're looking around, the dairy shows that we have at Carlisle, and there's a lot of young people getting involved with it, and there's quite because the technical aspect of it, the genetics, just streets ahead of any other.
100%,
and
that's where I think I can see how you're so passionate about it.
And we work as an industry relatively well as well.
Together.
I hate to get into this kind of intensive, extensive mindset because actually we're all supplying the same consumer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What I think we've really failed to do, and this is maybe not just dairy sector, but it's probably the whole agriculture, is that we've failed to attract people into our industry. We're a little bit too reliant on our own offspring as our succession. So, I think it's a great place to be. There is nothing better than getting the cows in at 5 o'clock on a June morning. There is nothing better in this world. And I think we've failed to sort of, let the rest of the population know that.
Sell that to the people who aren't involved in it.
I think it's just been a lack of education and a sort of maybe a lack of sort of communication about the opportunities that are in dairy industry and that don't that don't involve maybe physically milking a cow, like all those careers that.
But we're over reliant maybe on somebody else trying to solve our problems. Whereas we need to focus as an industry, right? We've got a recruitment issue, and we have got a recruitment issue. We're desperately short of people, and rather than bring people in from overseas, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I've got my eldest daughter's boyfriend who did a law degree in Glasgow milking cows for me now, and he loves it.
Yeah,
who knew? Born and brought up in Edinburgh, and just like a duck to water, loved it. So
things have changed massively as well. Like, even 20 years ago, it was still a very physical job. Very intense. Now it's actually not too bad. It's quite nice, isn't it? As you
and
say,
it's not so solitary either. We've got there's 25 or 6 people across 3 dairy units there, so a mixture of full and part time. So there's different experiences. Like there's just me and Dad 40 years ago, and now there's groups of people, which some people quite like that aspect of it.
It's an interesting industry, and it's as you say, it's an industry that embraces, I would say, technology maybe faster and quicker than. I mean, obviously, it lends itself because it's a more intensive system than beef or sheep.
Yeah.
You're getting those.
Yeah, it's a shorter term sort of.
You get results.
The returns. It's that monthly return. If you're breeding suckler cows, it's a 4-year project.
Yeah. So you've talked about your businesses and things like that. What's the dynamic at home? Is there a family dynamic, a succession dynamic coming on to your businesses?
What's the dynamic at home? Right. So there's obviously my wife, Jackie, who wasn't from a farming background. And I guess that is partly what drove me as well. When we first met, her family, obviously not from farming. And this is going to sound really stupid. I'm in my mid-20s, but I kind of realised that crikey, people actually have weekends off. Wow. What must that feel like? And that was the first time we ever actually employed anyone. We had a relief guy because Jackie was sort of down in the Midlands. So, you can't do that between milkings, can you? So, we've 4 children. We went to the graduation of our youngest in Bristol day before yesterday. So they've all gone off and done their degrees, been encouraged to get a good education.
Yep.
Nobody at the moment is in succession to be a farmer, but they're between 26 and 21, 2 in the middle. So who knows? I mean, one's in London working, one is working on Lowther Estate near Penrith, one is working on Edenhall Estate in the office there, and Jack is, he did an engineering degree, but he's going to train now to be a lawyer. So
There you
I do
go.
a law
Wow.
conversion, and so Jack,
Clever cookie.
yeah. So we'll see. I mean, who knows? It's just there's no pressure.
Yep.
They'll decide what they want to do. They're all bright kids. We'll see, won't we?
But they like the
It's,
countryside and they like
yeah, they
being
love
out.
it. They love the countryside. Yeah.
Yeah, they
I mean, the
weren't
one that lives in London, she spent a holiday helping a friend have cows and feed calves, and then went back to London to work for a charity. So, who knows? She might. I think I understand the excitement of the big city, and I love going to London. Well, I love coming away again as well.
Yeah.
absolutely.
A couple of days in London.
But I think it's the
get that.
experience, isn't it? They've got to go away and get experience of something else, a different way of living, and then after they've done that, they'll decide where they want to be.
Yeah.
I'd love to do something with any of them. It wouldn't need to be dairy farming. It could be any other business.
Yeah.
I'd love to. And it'd be great. We could probably do that now that we couldn't have done probably a couple of decades ago. So yeah, it's exciting. Really, we'll see. The sad thing is we don't get back together very often because they're all doing. To try and get a date is a real challenge now to get everyone back together, which is really difficult. I mean, they sort of share now my passion in Formula One. So there's a few of us going to Amsterdam in a few weeks' time, which would be great. I mean, we've done Silverstone a few times, and we went out to Baku a few years ago. But we're going to Zandvoort this time. So,
Wow.
So that's a few of us, but that's not all of us either. It's funny because I used to watch Formula One, and no one used to watch it with me. And then they all go off to uni, and they see Drive to Survive on Netflix or whatever it is, and all of a sudden they're like Formula One fans.
Yeah, my eldest son's an absolute Formula One freak.
Yeah.
He's when the Formula One weekend, he's absolutely glued to the TV. Yeah.
I've not watched it. Was it
That's
Drive
good
or Survive? I've not watched that.
Yeah,
On
like
Netflix.
a
I think,
docu-series.
it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you,
Good
what
choice.
are your hobbies then? If you like your
cars.
Formula One, you don't drive a Formula One car, probably.
No, not quite. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a bit of a petrol head, so yeah, I do like my cars.
They're a good car.
Yeah.
What do you drive?
I don't know whether this is for podcast. Aston Martin DB11,
Woo!
which is good fun.
Take that, yeah, good.
Yeah, I like that. Well, that was one of my kind of goals to get there in business, to be able to go and do that. So
Yeah.
thoroughly
Absolutely
enjoy
good
that.
on you, yeah.
Something you want to be proud of as well. If
Yeah.
that's the goal you want to work
Yeah,
for.
no, it's good. I love it. I mean, I was quite a keen runner until I busted my Achilles during COVID. And I got back into running, and then I had to have a knee operation earlier this year, so I'm still not quite running again yet. But a bit of cycling when I can get the motivation. A lot of hill walking when there's time.
Welcome to my world.
You're a part-time cyclist.
but I'm
He's a
sorry,
part-time
part-time
cyclist too.
I did. We did actually did a quite a long charity. A few guys from First Milk and myself. We cycled from the Haverfordwest Creamery up to Lake District Creamery at Spatria a couple of years ago for charity.
How many miles is
we did that? About 350.
That will be, yeah.
In how many days?
Yeah, I think we did it over 4 days. I think 4 or 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, it sounds awful, but the Queen's funeral was right in the middle, so we had a,
Luckily.
The roads would be quiet.
we had a rest day. We had a rest day in the middle. So,
The roads would be quiet.
so we had a rest day, but it was good fun. I enjoyed that, and I was pretty fit then. I'm probably not as fit now. So and hill walking, we're kind of halfway through the Wainwright, so we need to crack on. We've done all the local ones, all like the north and the west.
The easy ones.
All the ones that are left to do are like Eastern Fells, Southeastern Fells, where it takes a bit longer to get there, or you've got to stay over. So,
Very good.
yeah.
Nice.
But,
Have you been up at any Wainwrights yet, Jack?
I've not, no. I've done a few around Keswick, around that way,
you might have done some Wainwrights.
possibly. I don't know.
You don't know.
Wainwrights are great
Well,
because
they're a bit further south.
no, there's some around Keswick,
Oh, there you go.
but
You just
Wainwright
walked up
kind
the
of
top of a hill.
I just walked up the top of the hill. It was a nice view, and I walked back down and found a pint. I've had a pint of Wainwrights.
yeah. Won't need to explain what Wainwrights are. It's a pub crawl. They're good because it gets you onto actually different peaks that you wouldn't normally go to. It's not all, obviously most of the popular ones, but loads of the other ones that you maybe don't get. So you get slightly different views of the lakes and stuff. Which is, but great. I mean, we've got that on our doorstep. It's wonderful. It's just nothing better actually.
You mentioned just briefly there at the start about the Gold Cup. Could you maybe explain for anyone that isn't aware that's listening about the Gold Cup, because that's quite prestigious?
It is. I might get this all wrong because the Gold Cup, from a dairy perspective, from my perspective, before I got involved in RABDF, would never really been something that I would have aspired to win because we weren't. We were once. We used to show a lot of cows and way back. And I guess for that side of the industry, it's really important that it was at the pinnacle. Well, it hopefully still is,
Yeah.
but it was definitely, what a lot of the sort of top herds aspired to win. But it was very much based on a yield type set of criteria. You had to qualify through a yield criteria, and then there's an on-farm aspect of judging. And well, it is real top stuff. But they changed the judging criteria probably 3 or 4 years ago to try and broaden it out so that it was more attractive to, I guess, the likes of me. In the industry, the more extensive, still with certain hurdles, yield hurdles you have to get over, but a different set of criteria for grazers and a different set for the more intensive, high yielding guys. So it's an annual competition. You have to qualify through your milk recording data. We do a sift then through all of the various stats that they put forward, and then we judge 4 or 5 farms. So we go out and judge that. And then the winner is announced at Dairy Tech in February.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think there's still more work to be done at Gold Cup. I think if anything, it's lost its appeal to the high yielding side of the industry because they made it broader. So, there's a few ideas been knocked around now as to whether we continue with that, whether we maybe go alternate years, or we develop a new competition for the more extensive grazing side of the industry. Because it would be quite nice to see the Gold Cup back where it was. So we're in a sort of a position. I'm not really sure what we're going to do with it going forward, but it is this year. We've launched it again the same as last year.
And do you get a good reception? The people that
I don't think we get as many entries as we used to.
Right.
But bearing in mind,
can you decline if you automatically qualify? Do you through your milk?
Yeah,
yield?
if you've hit the right criteria,
And then you can decline or accept, or
Yeah,
you want to
you-
take it any further.
you've got to then submit an entry. Someone's got to submit an entry on your behalf. But I mean, back in the day when it was like really renowned, there were no Farmers Weekly awards, no Cream Awards, no British Farming Awards.
Yeah.
And
There's
all
a lot
of that
now,
sort of
isn't there?
crept in.
Yeah.
So we need to think quite hard about how we do it really so that it's got future proof it.
I think the Gold Cup is still relatively relevant, I would say. I think I would probably agree with you on the comments of just sort of, it's always that debate between the extensive and the intensive boys, isn't it? And when you change something from, what they were doing. But I think maybe it would be nice to lean maybe a wee bit more back towards the, if you want to call it intensive, but, that type of, high yielding, because there is such a concentrated effort now on all sustainability and environment and all this type of stuff. And there's actually lots of really, really good farmers out there that are milking really well, getting great results, but, they're not planting poppies in their front field, so they don't really get a look in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I've just judged, I was in London last week judging the Cream Awards. And you don't need to be doing all the biodiversity.
No.
And you could have an AD plant, you could have solar panels, there's other ways of reducing your emissions. And there was a cracking entry for the Cream Awards. It really was. It was really good. So yeah, I mean, I'm minded to make it again a prestigious award.
Yeah.
So I'm mindful of the fact that when you look at who's won the Gold Cup in the past, it's like a who's who of
Yeah, it
British
is.
dairy industry. And we don't want to put any of that at risk. So we just need to think a little bit more carefully. We can't ignore the other side of the industry either, because there are
A huge part of it too.
absolutely. And so, but I think in my head, it would have been better to have created a new award for that rather than make one a broader appeal, because I don't really think that's worked.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, to encompass everything, because there's so many different types of systems.
Yeah.
I know you're all producing the same product, but there's so many types of systems. But
Yeah, it's a funny one, because when you're judging like a national award like that, there's always some people that think whoever wins shouldn't have won, and you don't make very many friends judging these things. But we had Harper won this year. I mean, absolutely outstanding. Easily the best when we judged them. And the previous year we had the complete alternative system, which was a grazing farm sort of down in Dorset. So, but there'd be plenty of people on both sides of the industry would have preferred others to have won.
Yeah.
So, but that's how it goes.
you
That's
can't
just
please
judging.
everyone.
If you're going to show anything or get involved in judging, you've got to accept.
Yeah.
Can't
You're
please
not
everyone.
going to please everybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you can please yourself.
Well, that's the judges to please
right.
themselves.
Do you think the reduction in the numbers for the Gold Cup just comes back to the fact that there's not as many dairy farmers? Like you said before, we've gone from 250,000 back to 7,000.
It certainly doesn't help. And I think maybe one thing that often puts people off entering, you're expected to host a fairly big open day as well.
Right.
So that that won't be up everybody's street.
Yeah. People have got enough to do without having to worry about
Yeah,
that
and
as well.
because these things, you can range from a few hundred to a few thousand.
Yeah.
We had a winner, Metcalf Farms over at Leyburn in Yorkshire a few years ago. I mean, that was huge. It was probably 4,000 or 5,000 people there a day.
But they would like that because they're quite high profile.
And really well catered for too.
Yeah, huge event to cater for.
Yeah.
Just on that, with the number of dairy farmers, just to backtrack a little bit, what's the number of cows like compared to the number of farmers that aren't in it anymore? So if we've gone from 250,000 back to less than 10,000, what's the number of cows like compared to that?
So relatively static, if not reduced.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of the last few years, it's relatively static because yields increase, cow numbers fall.
Yeah.
So there's a line of cow numbers dropping and yield going up, and I can't remember where they crossed, but so you're still seeing increases in yield that cater for fewer cows, but as an output of the industry, it's relatively flat as well. That's sort of whatever it is, 13 billion litres or whatever. So it's
less farms but bigger farms.
Yeah, bigger farms. I think the average herd size is something like 280 or something now.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah,
That sounds
certainly over the
right.
200 mark now.
Yeah.
And the grass systems will be becoming better at what they do all the time because it's quite new to quite a lot of there's quite a lot of sort of new guys who moved from one system to another, and they'll be learning that process, learning how to manage the land, manage the grass, manage the cattle, and they'll be finding they're improving their yields as well, I would expect.
I think there's a bit of that. Most of the sort of people that I've, over the last 30 odd years since we went down the grass route, have established businesses with multiple units. I think we have missed a trick though, Scott. If you think about the higher output side of the industry, them guys, it used to be 10,000, 12,000. Now it's 14,000. 1,000 kilos of milk solids. I mean, even judged one last week that was in the sort of 16,000 bracket. Whereas it doesn't seem to be any end to that progressive.
Yeah.
When you look at the grazing side of the industry, the pure grazers, a really good grazing farm back in the sort of mid to late 90s was doing sort of 6,000 litres of a ton of concentrates. But you look now at a good grazing unit, they're doing about 6,000 litres of a ton of concentrates.
Yeah.
So we haven't, our side of the industry really hasn't progressed, and I think that's genetic as much as anything.
Right.
Yeah.
We maybe need to, because we've all got cows in our herds that will be doing 7,000 or 8,000 litres off the same management as one that's doing considerably less. Yeah. If you do the sums on that, it's extraordinary what it means to your bottom line. So, there's more milk in there if we want it.
One of the other aspects of dairy farming, obviously, is the calf that you produce. And I spent 2 years ago with the HHIB, we went across Ireland, and we looked at it, and as you mentioned earlier, a lot of those grass-based systems. And they're doing an awful lot of recording and a lot of experimental work on breeding and genetics. One of the biggest challenges for them was the calf and having a viable calf. And the bulk of them are using Angus. If they're using beef breeds, they're using Angus, and it was getting that Angus cow animal to a carcass weight that the industry will accept. Is that something you've seen?
From a smaller frame cow to start with?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really drive our business.
No.
The calf is you've got to get cow and calf, and we tend to just concentrate on the heifer calves, and then all the beef cross calves will leave. I mean, sex semen has sorted out a lot of the problems we had as an industry as a whole. What have we done the last? I mean, this is pretty common to you guys because obviously working in the auction, blues were really popular for a while, and then it felt like blues became no more valuable than the likes of a Hereford and Angus, and then this year it's just gone crazy. Everything seems to be worth money. But and we have a variety of outlets either through auction or through private sales. And
Maybe your cows aren't that small frame, do they?
they're not that extreme.
No.
We were almost in that. So we've gone from black and white to crossbreeding and maybe slightly too much crossbreeding. Then we've backpedaled more towards bigger frame black and white cows.
So what were your cow average? 550?
Yeah, we'll be over 500.
Yeah.
But the PP cows will be probably about 550.
Yeah.
Cairnhead and Dolphin Bee will be 500 or thereabouts. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's not too bad, because I
Not
think
small.
some of the Irish cows were kind of 460,
Yeah.
470.
Wee cows,
Yeah, some of the little crossbred cows. I mean, great little cows for producing milk solid.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, you're right. You know,
And a lot per acre.
a little, tiny little Angus calf.
It falls out.
That was the biggest challenge. That we
Yeah.
looked at that a lot. You know, how to try and change the genetics so they could get a bigger calf.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. I'm going to steal this from Graham Kirby, who interviewed a chap in May there. If you weren't milking cows in the UK, what other country in the world would you want to milk cows in?
That's a good question. So probably New Zealand. I've been to New Zealand quite a few times. I was last there. 2016, only 10 years ago. And I thought then, gosh, if I was like a younger guy, I'd really struggle to leave here. So, I mean, I did in a field 10 years ago, and I really like Chile.
Chile?
Yeah, Chile was, but you've got language barriers and stuff there. But something about New Zealand, I think, for young people, I can see the attraction of New Zealand. Yeah.
That's funny. It was
A
an
bit
Australian guy, actually, that Graham asked, and he said the UK.
Ah,
So
that's
there you
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, other than the UK.
Other than
I
the
think
UK,
that
obviously
was
you can't milk the UK because you already do.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's
I
nice
wouldn't
that people
change
look
it.
back at, because,
Yeah.
you know, in comparison to the rest of the world, we are quite a small island.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so unique, though. It really is. I mean, just repeating what I said before, but when my Nuffield was around water and how we move food around the world and stuff. And when you look into that and you realise that most of the areas of the world that produce most food, it is almost totally dependent on irrigation
Absolutely.
from a water source that's disappearing pretty
Yes,
rapidly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
abundant.
And you land back in
Especially
the
this
UK.
part of the world too. Well, this part of the
Yeah,
the island, like
Yeah, yeah.
between Cumbria and southwest Scotland, it's wet all the time.
it is great.
You don't need to
Well,
tell us that.
Oh, we've done quite well this year, though. We had a bit of sunshine this year.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. But it's the country, on the east of the country, I spoke to a guy over at, I was over the east of Yorkshire, and he sent me photographs of his cattle running on grass. Oh my God, it's like a desert.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. We're lucky in the west, definitely.
Yeah, you'd rather be with rain than without it.
This is a great place for dairy farming.
Yeah,
It really is.
west of the
It
Pennines.
is just.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, we can jump on the West Coast main line, come in London in 3 hours.
Yeah.
We can go to Edinburgh and Glasgow.
Yeah.
You know, we're pretty lucky in that respect.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
you know, we've got. I think that's why it's a great industry to be part of for youngsters. And we ought to bring them in. You know, just say how wonderful is this. You know.
Yeah.
From your own opinion, where do you see the future of dairy farming in the industry? Where is it going? Where is it? I know it's a big question, but what's your
Yeah, so I'm
what's your
really
sort of
positive.
thought and feeling?
So globally, we're consuming more dairy, or the increase in global dairy is increasing faster than we can produce it. You've got all manner of environmental constraints from like all over the world now. So you know whether we've seen a step change in dairy values or not, but I'm pretty confident that you know we'll have a reasonably strong economic environment moving forward. So yeah, I'm positive. You know, it's for a youngster coming into the industry, a great place to be. I mean, I've never known as much available land as what there is now. When I was in my sort of late teens, early 20s, you know, there's a huge amount of competition for land, which there isn't as there was then. There really was. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The amount of land
Competition's
that-
different now, though, isn't it? It's not. You know, back then it was all farming competition.
Yeah.
Now it's not all farming competition.
That's right. That's a good point. It was. I mean, if you went to a grass letting locally, there'd be like 20 farmers there, you know, all bidding.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't all be local. Some of them would be like 20 miles
They
away.
travel a bit, yeah.
Whereas now it's much more, you know, you're picking up land through conversation. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's
The
a lot of
values are
value.
considerable now. Like the equity that's required now
Yeah.
to purchase
Yeah.
land is
Yeah.
colossal now, isn't it? Well, especially the competitive nature, certainly in southwest Scotland. You know, anything that you
Yeah.
can mow is really
So yeah, we've bought
Prime land.
we bought some land, but I've never really been hung up. I've never really had this ambition to own a lot of land. We've got a lot of property and stuff now, and you know, big businesses. But in my mind, I'm much better finding someone I can work with
right.
and farm their land for them.
Yeah.
You know, we only own 300 and odd acres of land, and we farm 2,500
Yeah.
acres. So it's about finding the person you can get on with and manage their land for them.
Yeah, but that, you know, PP Allendale Estate, that's a perfect example, because you know they're if they didn't have somebody like you farming that land, I don't think they would let the farm.
Yeah.
They probably would take every scheme they could take. Instead of that, you're on it producing, which is
Yeah.
credit to you, and just your relationship with them is obviously making that work?
That was strange, actually, when I went back there in 2017, probably, when I went back in there. And it had been described to me, this farm had been described where it was. And I think, sure, that's Peepee Farm.
Yeah.
As a youngster, I spent quite a lot of time there with the Young Members Association, and Friesian visits and judgings and stuff. And to go back, and that farm had kind of been mothballed for about 5 years, and the pigeons had taken over, and the roof was falling in, and it's like, oh my goodness. It was so strange.
Yeah.
And for a long time, it was like, it was just weird going back. It felt like you were revisiting old memories, and like we've made new memories there now, and it doesn't feel like that at all now. But
How do those opportunities come about? Is it just through conversations? Is it
pretty much. I mean, I looked at one just recently through tipped off by the bank. That was a conversation, a friend of a friend that did a personal development course with a land agent that knew that this farm they wanted it back milking cows. So I went to see it, and I mean, it's just, and I've probably turned down 2 or 3 big opportunities in the last few years because I've got, I know where I want to be myself. I mean, there's a limit to how much hassle you really want. We don't, but it's really hard to turn that off when you're driven to do stuff.
When you enjoy it and you can see the opportunities and things like that, And
the people side of it's brilliant. I mean, it is fantastic. Like, to bring these 2 now in as equity partners is just so good. Because none of my managers are from a farming background, and they've chosen to work in agriculture. They've chosen to work with me, and it's not easy for them because they haven't really got any capital. So we've got to guarantor loans on their behalf. But once you've known them for, they've both worked for us for a good 5-6 years. The one at PP actually longer. There's no problem in guarantoring loans. And, then they've got a bit of debt, they've got a bit of drive, and it's great.
That's a good way to bring people on in business as well. If you've got that real attachment to it and you're invested in it, it really does drive you.
Which we're not doing. We're not doing anything like enough of. And I worry a little bit from the bigger, more capitally intense housed units. How you get into that position, it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
We're big combined now. We'll turn over nearly 6 million quid this year.
Wow.
It's a big business, but some of these 1,000 cows inside producing maybe 12, 15,000 million litres. It's a huge business.
Huge,
How do you bring in a herd manager into that business?
The equity. Where would you find it?
To get that buy-in.
How many people do you know that are doing what you're doing?
Gosh, not many. There are different ways of doing it because there's like they can own cows in a business. It just seemed simpler to us. They're all limited companies that we operate, so it's simpler to bring them in as a director, bring them in as an equity stake, let them borrow into a percentage. And then they get the profit share through that. And not many in that way.
No,
it's more the sort of contract farming.
Share farming, contract farming.
Farming and ownership of stock. Maybe buying heifer calves.
I can never get my head around how that works.
It is quite complicated. Whereas the limited,
straightforward.
Very straightforward.
It is. That way. So it's. I'm so lucky. We've got brilliant guys. Like really.
That's the trick, isn't it? That really is the secret. If you can get the right people.
Really good.
It's the same in any business. It's all about the people.
Get
the right people.
We have like WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
We do most of our own silage and work and stuff now, so that's all based at home. But all 3 farms work together quite well for that, which is great. So.
Good. Good. Any other burning questions you pair for?
We've got it all out.
Yeah, it's really enlightening. It's good. Yeah, and your work with RABDF is brilliant.
I don't know what's next. You said at the beginning what's next. I have no idea.
And you don't know what's next.
Really?
Don't want to see what's coming around the next corner.
I've turned down a few things this year. A few industry things that I don't. We'll see. I don't know what's next really.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit less because I'm travelling and probably a bit more than I really want to at the moment.
Yeah, you want
I
to
love my
slow that down
gardening.
a wee
We
bit.
didn't talk about gardening. I love my
I
gardening.
love your gardening, right? Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time in the garden.
Yeah, any gardening plots or anything tomorrow?
Jack's got a sale tomorrow.
Garden sale on at H&H tomorrow if you're looking at
Pots and ornaments.
some
What's happened the
swinging
last
chairs.
But the last few weeks I've been like home, basically pay all the invoices, cut the grass, and then disappear again, and then you come back and the grass is ready to cut again. So I need to
Oh, God.
enjoy the
never-ending
garden. Bit more.
cycle.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Robert, for giving us your time.
Yeah, thanks, Robert.
It's been thoroughly interesting, and we wish you well on your up and down travels of the UK. clearly.
Thank you. No, I enjoyed it.
And sticking to that policy work, I think that's really important. There's not enough people in the industry prepared to actually stick their head above the parapet.
Yeah, you're right. But it's we didn't talk too much about politics, but it's
Yeah, because we're up against it. We haven't got too many friends out there. I don't think.
No.
Great. Thank you very much.
Don't forget our sponsors, Laura.
Thank you, Scott. I won't forget my sponsors. Big thanks to our sponsors who continually support this podcast and bring it to you. H&H Insurance Brokers. If you are in the market for farm or commercial insurance, please do give the guys a ring. And also to our ever-supporting and long-suffering sponsor and producer, Alistair Hurd at Hurd's Media, who's behind the camera. And he does a hell of a lot of work for this podcast, so we do thoroughly appreciate it.
Thanks, Alistair.
What a conversation.
It's good.
That was a good conversation.
Very interesting guy. Very innovative, passionate about dairy, which is fantastic. Good to listen to.
I think we could have rolled on for hours there.
We could have.
Yeah.
Do you know, for me, I thought it was, and it's completely just like sort of a mindset thing as well, that he refers to his businesses as like businesses, if you know what I mean. Because so many farms are like, yeah, I'm a farmer, back at the farm. Like it's just, like it's not a £1 million business, which most farms are nowadays.
Most farms are.
Yeah.
It's funny that, isn't it? He was like, yeah, we have 3 businesses at home. And I was like, I wonder what his businesses are.
Not
But
just 3
he's
farms.
a farmer.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a different mindset. And I think you see that more in dairy farming. There are, when I asked Robert, how many other people do something similar, there are people doing that sort of 3 or 4 farms stuck together with different people managing it, or share farming, and that's just it's a business mindset rather than the traditional farming
Mindset. Well, you could sort of see that with the spreadsheets and sort of the drive to be the head of the business, not just the farmer.
Yeah.
It's obviously a business background.
He's obviously got his finger on everything. He knows exactly
Finger
what
on the pulse.
the costs and expenses are and what the income is, and But he's got a lot on his plate.
He's got a lot on his plate.
A lot. The big plate.
It's a big plate, yeah. It's a big dinner plate.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. Yeah. Good, great guy.
Very good. What is on for you lads in the next... Well, we'll not be sitting down again until hopefully going to come back from his voyage in August. So what's on for the next?
August, I think all the back end sales will be kicking off, won't they? We've got a few shows to come up. Penrith this weekend, and then all the pedigree sheep sales. So I think things will fairly well rocket on. All the suckers will keep coming.
All the suckers.
Suckers. I love sucker season. Get rid of the old lambs and bring all the fresh.
They're lambs that we're referring to.
Yes, all the new season lambs.
All right, okay.
It's always nice when they come through the market. So
lovely. You'll be going up to Lockerbie,
yes, up to Lockerbie.
where we split our sales.
Yeah,
Split the sales.
Navigating these blue tongue restrictions is going to be a bit of a challenge, but we think we've got a plan set out,
good plan.
and the guys are working hard at making sure that we can offer our customers the service that they deserve.
Lucky that we've got that over the border base.
Yeah.
We can use it to our advantage.
Lockerbie is once again going to be the centre of the earth.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. What about you, Scott?
What have we got coming up? Shows. We're moving house this week. Moving out the pub into a house in Holtwhistle, so that's going to be a real challenge. I can't tell you how many times I've moved house in my life.
It's never a great job, is it?
It's not.
So have you got it down to fine art now? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
no. There's going to be less stuff than there was the last time. I'm sure we threw that much.
You'd nearly be able to just throw everything out the window of the pub and just push it in a trailer down the hill and hope it stops at the right spot.
Yeah. No, so that's on the cards this next week or two. Quite a lot of stuff going on. Policy work. I'm fighting with both English government and Scottish government about the implementation of EID for cattle in England. England have gone low frequency. It's going to start when we start tagging calves in January 2027. And at the minute, Scotland look like they're going to go high frequency, which is going to mean lots more complication. You think blue tongue is a bit of a pain. When we get to working with 2 sets of tag technologies, it's going to be even worse.
It's wild.
Blue tongue's just a warm up.
Yeah. So I'm spending quite a lot of my time on that at the minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be a big hurdle to navigate.
Yeah, we'll get there, and we'll just have to do what we have to do. But there's going to be quite a lot of cost and complication involved.
Teething issues.
Yeah. Yeah, at best, that's a polite way of saying.
Yeah. And for you, Laura, anything
For
exciting?
me, what is on the next month? It'll just be kind of into August sales. We've had a lot of online sales recently.
Yeah, there has.
That kind of takes up a lot of June and July. Shows, time everybody gets their holidays and things like that. And yeah, August is just kind of a work month, isn't it? Nobody really takes much time off in August, do they?
We had a dairy farmer here. We didn't mention our new parlour that goes in.
No, we didn't get to that.
Yes, it goes. It should start this week.
Yeah,
Hopefully, but today's Thursday. Yeah, that is. Well, we're very exciting. So if the auctioneering doesn't work out, we'll just become dairy farmers.
We'll just start milking cows.
Start milking cows,
We so when do we hope that's going to be up and running?
It is 8 weeks to put it in.
Yeah.
So it'll be mid-September. Yeah. And then we need to get some sort of
Pennage system,
or else you can't use it. Yeah. But we're in the midst of trying to come up with a design and a plan. So we'll be working on that hopefully in the next few weeks to get that cracked for the shed, because it's just currently a big empty space.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
But anyway, thank you very much both for standing in.
A pleasure.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
It's been
It's been
marvellous,
good.
but, you'll be pleased when you get your partner back.
You mean Glyn?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, he might not be back, Scott. We might be the new
Where
replacements.
did he say he was going? Is he not going somewhere in Scotland? I think he's going.
Tyree.
Tyree, that was
Tyree.
it. He's going to Tyree. So maybe he's an island man.
Washed
isn't
up on
he?
a beach somewhere.
Yeah.
Or just beached.
Hope he's not listening.
Thank you very much for listening, watching, however you have consumed this podcast this month. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, tell all your friends, tell the delivery man. And we will catch you in August for the next episode. Thank you.